Croissant. In the quiet hum of my kitchen, long before the sun even considers making its appearance, I find a unique kind of solace. It's here, amidst the gentle scent of yeast and melting butter, that I engage in a ritual that has become my most cherished form of self-expression: baking. For years, I believed that the purpose of my creations was to be seen, to be tasted, to be judged. Each loaf of sourdough, every delicate macaron was a performance, a plea for validation. I would anxiously watch as friends took their first bites, my breath held, waiting for the nod of approval. The chorus of "this is amazing." My self-worth became intrinsically linked to the rise of my dough and the flakiness of my pastry. A sunken cake felt like a personal failure, a burnt cookie a reflection of my own inadequacy. The joy of the process was lost, overshadowed by the immense pressure to perform, to please, to be deemed worthy through the medium of flour and sugar. The kitchen, once a sanctuary, had transformed into an arena, and I was its exhausted, anxious gladiator. Then, one rainy Tuesday, something shifted. I had planned to bake an elaborate multi-layered opera cake for a dinner party, a confection designed to dazzle and impress. I'd spent hours meticulously preparing the almond sponge, the coffee syrup, the chocolate ganache, but as I assembled the delicate layers, one slipped, smearing the buttercream and cracking the pristine surface. Panic set in, followed by a wave of familiar disappointment. In that moment, staring at the imperfect cake, I didn't see a culinary disaster. Instead, I saw a reflection of my own strained efforts, my desperate need for external applause. I suddenly felt an overwhelming urge to abandon the script. I scraped off the elaborate frosting, sliced the ruined cake into rustic chunks, and simply sat down at my kitchen table with a fork. As I took a bite, not for an audience but for myself, the flavors were revelatory. It was just cake, and it was delicious. The pressure evaporated, leaving only the pure, unadulterated pleasure of creation for its own sake. That quiet act of rebellion sparked a revolution in my kitchen. I began to bake not for the party, the potluck, or the Instagram post, but for the simple, profound joy of the process itself. I started baking for me. The focus shifted from the final product to the sensory journey, the satisfying slap of dough against the counter, the mesmerizing dance of ingredients swirling together in a bowl, the comforting warmth emanating from the oven. I rediscovered the magic in the transformation of simple, raw materials into something nourishing and beautiful. I baked bread on a whim, just to feel the living dough beneath my palms. I experimented with flavors that I loved, combinations that might be too weird for a crowd: a lavender and Earl Grey scone, a cardamom and pistachio loaf, a dark chocolate and chili tart. These creations were not for public consumption or approval. They were dialogues with myself, edible expressions of my mood, my curiosity, my comfort. This new philosophy transformed my relationship with imperfection. A crack in a cheesecake was no longer a flaw, but a rustic, charming detail. A slightly lopsided loaf of bread had character. A batch of cookies that spread a little too much were just an opportunity to make ice cream sandwiches. By removing the audience, I had removed the judge. My kitchen became a safe space for experimentation, for play, for failure. And in this freedom, paradoxically, my baking improved. Without the anxiety of perfection, my hands became more intuitive, my instincts sharper. I learned to read the dough, to trust the smells, to understand the subtle cues of heat and time. The process became meditative, a mindful practice that grounded me in the present moment. The rhythmic kneading of dough became a way to process my thoughts. The precise piping of a shoes bun, a lesson in focus and patience. Baking for myself taught me that the true value isn't in the applause that follows the final reveal, but in the quiet, personal moments of creation. It's in the satisfaction of seeing yeast bubble to life, a sign of potential and vitality. It's in the alchemy of turning butter and flour into countless, delicate layers of puff pastry. It's in the joy of tasting a warm brownie, fresh from the oven, its gooey center, a secret kept just for you. This practice is an act of self-care, a way of nurturing myself from the inside out. It's a declaration that my time, my energy, and my creativity are valuable in their own right, independent of anyone else's opinion. It's about finding fulfillment not in the praise of others, but in the honest, tangible, and delicious act of making something with your own two hands, simply because it brings you joy.